Alright guys, so today we're talking about the Avengers game, and this will probably be the final time we cover this game. We've talked about it a fair amount on this channel. I mean, these are just the videos that I've covered the game in, and I've talked about it in other videos as well. And why we're talking about it now, this final time, is that they finally put out a tweet. The news has been going around, you might have seen it if you play or follow this game at all, that they're giving up on this game. Now, most of these news articles or tweets look like this, stating that they're going to stop supporting the game on the 30th of this year. Now, give or take a month, that'll be 3 years from the launch of the game. And what does this mean when they say they're going to stop supporting the game? So after looking at different articles and tweets and people's opinions down in the comments, and just all of that combined with my personal opinion, this overall definitely means they're going to stop making new content for the game. That's an obvious one. They're no longer going to be adding new characters or new missions or raids to do or anything like that. That one is fairly given. But does this mean the game's going to be down permanently? Is it going to be shut down where you can no longer access it? And after looking through a lot of resources, it looks like this won't be the case. You'll still be able to access and play the Avengers game, at least for the time being. You just won't be able to go through and buy the game again. And this is something that I've seen a lot of. After September 30th, you can't purchase the game anymore. It'll be taken down. All of the digital and physical copies theoretically will be gone by then, and that will be it. If you don't have the game, you'll never be able to get it again. This isn't 100% confirmed, but I've seen so much news about it, and typically when you see so many people repeating the same exact information, it typically ends up being true. So if you want to buy the game for whatever reason, there's so many people that say this game is bad. I've explained it. I've talked about the game. I mean, you're watching just one of my 5 videos right now in the background. What I find so interesting is right now we're a little bit past 2 years. Let's call it 2.5 years since this game is launched. And if you look at something like this that launched in such a bad state, and just because of how games work now with games as a service and they're constantly being updated, and you look at Battlefront 2, right? Both of these games launched and everyone hated them, right? And they've been constantly updating the Avengers game, adding new characters. And if you look at Battlefront 2 now, it's a drastically different game than what it launched with. Battlefront 2 is such a good game now, but even 2 years after it launched, they changed so much and reworked so many things that people had problems with, that just the opinion of the community overall has been overwhelmingly positive. But if you break it down, what's the difference between Battlefront 2 and the Avengers game? Battlefront 2's main problem, what stopped people from liking that game, why they were able to change it through updates, was the progression, right? If you look at it, if you didn't play the game at launch and you wanted to get Darth Vader, it's like the Overwatch skins. You had, if you didn't want to pay money, had to grind for an absurdly long amount of time in order to get the characters that you wanted, instead of them being able to earn at a decent rate through gameplay, or you could just buy them, right? That's something that can be fixed. Progression problems, balancing issues, glitches, bugs, performance problems, that can all be fixed thanks to games as a service. The only positive thing, in my opinion, is games as a service can be fixed in updates. The core gameplay can't be fixed. The Avengers game could never be fixed. You could add as many characters as you want. A beat-em-up, multiplayer superhero game where you're thrown into the same repetitive locations over and over and over and over again doesn't work. If you look at something like Destiny, where you're practically doing the same thing, but it's a shooter, you're thrown into the same locations, doing the same strikes, doing the same raids, doing the same dungeons, doing the same missions, and the same daily quests, and the same Gambit matches, the same Crucible matches, over and over and over and over again, every single week, just to get that little number next to your name, like 5 numbers higher. The difference is the reward. You're getting these really cool, really new and different skins with different shaders and artifacts and all of that stuff, and really cool seasons pass that rewards you for doing all of this stuff every single week. In the Avengers game, you get rewarded, but at such a slow rate that it doesn't matter. They're just begging you to put your credit card in and buy these skins. So while you look at something like Battlefront 2 that was drastically changed and made a comeback, you can't do that here because the core gameplay is the problem. And if you look at it, you look at the games that are coming out, you look at superhero multiplayer games, there's not really a good one, right? Gotham Knights, most people considered a failure. I didn't hate it that much, but it's definitely not as top tier as any of the single player superhero games, the Spider-Man games, the Batman games, anything up to that level, right? You look at Suicide Squad, all the leaks for that have been coming out, and people have been comparing it to this game. Multiplayer superhero games are very hard to do because you have to balance that feeling of being overpowered while still making it fun to play with friends and having a halfway decent story. The Avengers game balanced that all so poorly, and just combined with the microtransactions ultimately led it to fail. Now, let's talk about my final point of them getting rid of this game, they're shutting it down. The final thing that really made me make this video, and perhaps the most disturbing part of all of this, all of those skins that came out with the game, a lot of them were really bad and they're really overpriced, fine. But then as the game continued and they added more characters and they had more development time within the game, they started adding the licensed skins, all of the MCU skins. You have Captain America with a Civil War skin, an Infinity War skin, an Endgame skin, you know, Hulk, Iron Man, Black Widow, with all of their individual movie skins, and then the team-up movie skins. You have all of these skins, and they all either require you to grind for an absurd amount of time, or put your credit card in. And so many people, the people that liked this game, the Fortnite kids, put their credit card in to get these skins so they could look like their favorite characters, right? But when this game is taken offline, shut down, lost support, whatever word you want to use, all of those skins are free. All those skins you grinded for, all the money you spent, it's free. It meant nothing. And so this is my problem. You can say, oh, well, they can't shut the game down, you paid for it, they can't just take that away from you, they have to give you a refund. What about the people that bought all these skins? You can say buying the skins was voluntary, but I don't understand how they can do this. Now again, this isn't confirmed by Crystal Dynamics. I haven't put anything out saying this is what's going to happen. But like I said earlier in the video, a lot of this is being repeated by a lot of different people in a lot of different settings. So what's the takeaway? What should you learn from the Avengers game? Well, I'm biased towards games as a service because I just don't like it as a model in the first place. But you can't use this live setting of games, this power to update your games after they've launched and fix things on a game that was never good in the first place. Look at Cyberpunk as your example, right? The game came out, and while the core gameplay is there and the story is there and all that's decent, came out buggy as hell and broken, but now, later, they've had time, they've fixed it, they're adding more stuff, it's going to play decent now, it works now, it's a different experience now. You go back and you play the Avengers game, I don't care how many characters they add, how many new skins they add, it still has the same problem. You're beating up the same enemies, doing the same actions in the same locations and the same objectives over and over and over again. That's the problem with the Avengers game. You can fix a bug or a glitch or a performance issue with an update, but you can't fix bad game design with an update. Now, in no way am I 100% blaming the developers for this. I want to make that clear. I understand that you make your game and then they come in and the company wants changes so they can fit in their microtransactions, and you as a developer have to somehow fit into your game that you've made and the story that you've told, this sort of repetitive cycle to keep the player playing the same sequence that you designed to fit into 15 hours of gameplay into 115 hours of gameplay so that they want to buy those skins and keep playing and come back and buy more skins and buy more skins and buy more skins. I understand that. But the Avengers game took probably, aside from Star Wars, maybe even surpassing it, the largest and most popular IP in media right now, and did nothing with it. It flopped. It didn't do well. It didn't have good review scores. This game, no matter what characters they added, didn't bring people back, and now they've realized that, and they're giving up and moving on to something new. Hopefully, this is the last time we have to make a video like this. The Suicide Squad game comes out and it's absolutely fantastic, doesn't have a lot of these same issues, and you can say, look at what the Avengers game could have been. But if you guys like this game, if you love this game, if you hate this game, let me know what you think down in the comments below, especially if you still play it. I want to hear from those of you that really like this game, because I've heard all the hate for this game over and over again. But I want to hear from the people who really enjoy it and are sad the game is coming to an end. Other than that, that's all I have for today, just a little news update video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.